calling our budget workshop together at 4:30 p.m.
There you go.
Calling our budget workshop together to order at 4:30 p.m. City Manager.
Yes. And so this is our mid-year budget. And usually we try to establish a time that every year during this time we can have a mid-year budget review. And we've been pretty consistent about coming in on the fourth Tuesday in May. So it's worked really well for us. And of course, Kiki will give you kind of a very broad stroke overview, but we worked very, very hard to put this budget in place and kind of keep in line with what we know we need and those things that we can maybe move around and have a good budget for you. Thank staff tremendously for all of the work that they've done in putting this together. It takes a lot of hours to put together mid-year and just our regular budget. So I'm going to let Kiki go on and get started. She has a PowerPoint presentation that kind of gives a really great overview of some of the things, and then from there you can ask questions.
Thank you, City Manager. Mayor, Commissioners, it's my pleasure to bring to you the fiscal 22 mid-year. I will be doing an overview of the document that you have in front of you. We were doing some fine-tuning this morning, so a few numbers in the disaster fund have changed from the document that was published. If you have questions about that, I can answer that as we go along. First, I'd like to explain to you the process. The mid-year budget work began in early February. It's a citywide team event. All directors are involved with their specific budgets. The finance department is involved with all budgets. The city manager is involved with all budgets. This year we have a new reporting. We have included historical data for analysis to show the trending lines between each of the budgets. So you'll see actuals for fiscal 20 and actuals for fiscal 21 in the documents. Those were not there in the past. Dawn Brothers, whom you met as one of our employees of the month several months ago, I'm very proud of her in the finance department. She's taking on some new roles, and one of her job responsibilities is going to be meeting with each of the directors every other month to have an overview of where they are with the budget. So she'll break the city in half. She'll speak with half of the directors one month and the other half of the directors the next month, and we'll be reviewing in line item detail. I have taken over the responsibility of monitoring purchasing to make sure that we are further enhancing our adherence to the policies and procedures. The document that you have in front of you is recommending a 1% increase from the fiscal 22 that was approved last September. $200,000 of that has to do with the Rails to Trails, which is fully funded by FDOT. So there's corresponding revenue and expenditures. We are also utilizing approximately 1/4 of the available American Rescue Plan funds this year. $767,000 for sewer, $1.6 million for stormwater, totaling $2.4 million. As far as the grants go, the city has applied for a total of $47.5 million in various state grants during the last 12 to 18 months. A total of 45 grant applications have been submitted. 29 of these have been awarded, totaling almost $18 million. Those dollars are not included in this budget. Those are for future years. $5.25 million is in CDBG for the West 10th Street utility improvement. $4.3 million is for the Hometown Revitalization Program of Florida and Ohio Avenue corridors. $1.1 million is for the Minnesota Sidewalk Repair, $4.5 million, again, for the rails to trails. I'm going to ask Jennifer Hodges to come up and speak to you about the staffing update. We are listening very carefully to what the commission is giving us direction for, and we have addressed several of your concerns.
Thank you, Kiki. Good afternoon, commissioners and mayor.
Good afternoon.
And I don't think what I'm going to tell you is anything strange. Today, businesses, not-for-profits, and governments are having a difficult time to hire and maintain a functioning and productive workforce. Here in the city of Lynn Haven, all of us since October of 2018, when we were devastated by Hurricane Michael, have had an even more difficult time. We've lost affordable housing, we've lost staff. Add to that COVID-19, which exacerbated this situation, and we're going to give it a triple threat or a triple bonus. Within November 3rd, 2020, the Florida voters passed the increase to the minimum wage, which after several years, by 2026, we have to have an increase of our minimum wage to $15. Now, with some of the supply shortages, many of our businesses have already jumped to that level. And so, as you all have recognized, it's important that we address our minimum wage here at the city. Back in 2018, that minimum wage was $9.38. As of the beginning of this year, our minimum wage was $11.75, not competitive with our markets around here, not competitive with governments. Therefore, on your direction, we've done a study and we have moved our minimum wage up to $13.50 an hour. We're still not to the minimum that we're required to be at, but it was a start. Because in a large organization, when you make that kind of move, you have what we call compression. The positions just above that are compressed. People have been here with some longevity. You need to take care of those positions as well. So it wasn't just across the board at $13.50. We had to look at those positions just above. So we came up with a formula in which if someone had been working for the city 6 months to a year, we'd bump it up another 0.5%. A year would get a 1%. 2 years would get a 1.5%. 3 years, a 2%. 3 years, a 1.5. 4 years, a 2%. 5 and above would be 2.5% to try to help alleviate some of that compression of those lower hourly rates. This affected over 25% of our workforce with some increases. Understand this is just a start. We're not at the end. We are not at that minimum yet, but it is helping us to look forward and provide the benefits that we need with our workforce today. In addition, we have added to this mid-year budget the building inspector, which is to support our building code administrator, who we have hired. That's Charles Van Netter, who came on board in January. We have also added we're asking to add 4 new splash pad temporary positions to monitor our splash pads. Now, it was envisioned that the vendor could take over this monitoring role of the splash pads. However, that has not turned out to be something that's viable, not only for the vendor because of how busy our splash pads are, but we must take on the position of mitigating our risk at these splash pads. Accidents happen on a regular basis, and if we don't have someone monitoring the activities, we will have many more claims. Having someone there full-time under the supervision of the city helps us mitigate risks. The city manager has also established a one-time merit check to those employees based on their appraisals and their performances that are in a position where they should have that performance rewarded through a one-time merit. So many of the increases that Kiki's going to talk about is based on your direction to try to address our staffing and our very low positions. So I hope it's something that you will consider and approve and continue to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. The items that she just highlighted will add $250,000 to the budget. The next section I'd like to talk to you about capital outlay. What that means is our large purchases. It can be equipment, it can be enhancements to infrastructure, it can be buildings. It's anything with a long-term investment for the city to help provide better service to our residents. Our goal is to improve and replace existing infrastructure where needed and add additional equipment which helps enhance the city's performance, save money, and help us with our self-sufficiency. We're trying to get as much as we can done in the city with our own resources. We have talked about the tank painting and repair, but that project is nearly completed. As you can see, we went from the picture on the left to the picture on the right. All 3 tanks have been painted, and I think there's just some follow-up work. That project was budgeted for $200,000.
Can we ask questions as we go, or do you want her to go all the way through?
Let's let her go all the way through. Just
Okay.
jot down, and then we'll ask at the end.
The Highway 390 utility relocate is in 2 phases. During fiscal '22, we have budgeted $1.1 million combined for the 2 phases. Lift Station 21 repairs, we have budgeted $150,000. The police department has a capital replacement plan. Chief Ramey is anxious to get rid of the Dodge Chargers. I'm sure he will tell you in great detail the challenges he faces with those cars. This particular unit that you're looking at here has over $14,000 in repairs just for that one unit. We have budgeted for him to replace 2 of these Chargers in this fiscal year with Chevy Tahoes, which are offer a better repair history and serve the police. The sewer department is adding an additional truck to their inventory. The fire department is asking for a new truck for the fire inspectors use to replace a 2008 Crown Victoria. They are also asking for a 0-turn mower. This will enable them to do their own lawn maintenance, which will free up our facilities maintenance staff to do other work. We have already purchased this bucket truck. It does a variety of jobs around the city. As you can see, we use this to help with decorations, light replacements, painting, all sorts of maintenance. Before we had the bucket truck, we would have to spend nearly $400 per day to rent a comparable piece of equipment. We have also purchased this crane truck for the utilities department. It replaces an $850 a day rental. Back to self-sufficiency and give our staff the equipment they need to be able to do the job without having to outsource. And here you can see Dennis. He is at the sewer department using the crane. Crane can work on lift stations, fire hydrants, and all sorts of items across the city. The legislative paving project, this year we have completed 2.1 miles, and that cost $1.9 million. FDOT has funded 50% of those projects. Sidewalk repairs. The budget includes $312,000 for sidewalks all across the city. Of course, it's a safety issue and increased mobility for the residents. The stormwater projects that are included in this budget total $2.6 million. They're primarily funded with ARPA funds and HMGP money. So in conclusion, you have a 1% additional funding request. $200,000 of it has to do with capital outlay for the rails to trails. Again, all funded with grant money. We're requesting citywide minimum rate to be moved to $13.50. One additional full-time staff position in the building department as a building inspector. 4 part-time seasonal positions that are for the splash pads. We're going to be using 1/4 of the ARPA funds that all need to be spent, or encumbered, I should say, by the end of 2024. And we're going to be using 1/4 of it this year. And we have nearly $18 million in approved grants for future projects. At this time, I'll be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Commissioner Tender.
Yes, I wanted to ask about the did you say it was $200,000 to paint the
There's 3 tanks.
3 tanks?
3 tanks.
200,000?
Yes, ma'am.
But I think that also, does that include repair and painting for those 3 tanks?
I'm sorry, clear painting and?
And repair.
Yes,
Structural repair.
repairs and paintings.
Yeah, we voted on that.
That was already in the budget, yes.
I think you made that motion. But just being clear that it wasn't just, we're not just painting the tanks, but also repairing them as well. Additional questions for Ms. Kiki?
The resolution that you have, that I just handed you a few moments ago, the green bar to the left is what you voted on last September. The next column over are items that have been brought to you along the way during the year. The third column is actually what you'll be voting on today. That's the 1% increase, which will get us to that last green column. That will be the final budget. This one page.
Okay.
Hey, 1%, that's good. That's a good job. Y'all did
Thank
a
you.
great job.
It was a team effort. Everyone did a wonderful job of identifying savings so that we could fund those additional programs that you directed us to.
That's great.
We knew it was a tight budget when we voted on it. And we've made adjustments along the way.
So the proposed adjustments, does this include grants that we haven't accounted for yet?
It just includes whatever grant money we would use by the end of September.
Okay. But it might be grants that we haven't received funding for yet, right?
If they're not approved, it's not included, and only the portion that we will utilize by September 30 is included.
All right.
And you may see some of these grants in the next fiscal year because of the
Yes.
fact that we project how much we're going to use
Right.
for the rest of the mid-year, and then whatever is not used, then that will go into the budget for the next year.
Right.
Okay.
For the personnel cost summary, I was looking at the overtime. I had 105,541, and then we end up paying 339,403. Is there a reason for the jump in that?
We did have some unusual circumstances this year. You might have heard about the lightning strike at the sewer department. You've also heard about the forest fires. So there's overtime associated with both of those events.
So most of that was from the fire department for the
Fire
forest
department, the police department, and the sewer department.
Okay.
Additional questions regarding the budget adjustments?
Did we put in there to cut the lawyer's pay?
I can if you instruct me to. Thank you all very much.
Come on, Kevin.
All right. Any commentary from the public? Okay. No commentary from the public. Is there a motion from the commission?
That's for the meeting, right?
What's on this? No, my bad. All right. Any public commentary from the public? None? All right, great.
I was just going to say, you know, I know we're supposed to vote on this when we go to the commission meeting,
Yeah.
but me personally, I'd like to go over this line by line. It doesn't have to be through the commission. I can do this with the city manager and Kiki. It would probably take quite a while if we did it in this type of setting. So, and it's not that I don't trust them or anything, but I feel like I got to do my due diligence as a commissioner to look at it line by line. And I think they can probably answer a lot of my questions pretty quick if I did something like that. I don't know how you guys feel, if you feel the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we used to do it.
We just pull it.
That is how we used to do
pull
it.
it.
We would get
Table it,
together as a commission, and we would go over every single thing. I mean,
And how long did it normally take when you did that?
we spent a couple hours.
Did it?
Remember when we were over at the other meeting? Or at the other meeting place? Yeah, we would sit down and go through the whole thing. I'm not a numbers person, never have been, and I'm just being upfront when I say that. But I know we used to go over it in detail so we could look, so we could pay attention to the percentages that went up and the percentages that went down. And
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, we've had this in our hand for 20 minutes.
It's it's generally the same document that you
Yeah.
received last week. There's a
Yeah.
few changes, but it's
Right.
generally the same.
That
The
we got on
document you guys
Friday.
received on Friday. So one of the things that we can do is do just like we've done before, go through it, flip it, you have any questions. And normally we do that on the budget, the big budget, when you go in through that, because we'll do 2 of those. Mid-years, just a re-up of what you've already approved, any additions there. And so normally what would happen is we would just turn a page. Any questions here? Anybody have a question? That's one of the reasons we gave some time in here. If there are questions, we can answer any of those questions for you.
Can't
Yeah.
we, can't we vote on it? Commissioner Perno brought up this point a minute ago, so I'm not taking the accolades there.
No.
But can't we vote on it, and then if Commissioner Warwick or Tinder or any of us find something that we're not happy with, it's just a mid-year budget, so we can amend things and change it anytime until September, correct?
That is
Yes, sir.
correct.
I can come back to you as many times as you need to if you need to make adjustments.
Okay.
We
Yes.
can make the vote, but if you find anything, we could bring it to the next.
That is very true.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can make budget adjustments throughout the entire year.
Which you have been doing along the way. When
Right.
We've had staff members come to you and ask for specific projects that you've approved.
Because I know when we did the annual one, we did the one-on-one, and I really liked that. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I felt like I got a lot out of that because, you know me, I ask a lot of questions, and it's not always because it's more probably for education for me to make sure I understand everything. And
I'll happily go over the full document with you if you like.
And we will do the annual exactly like we did it last year, where
Okay.
we will meet with each one of you and go over all of the budget as
Okay.
we've done before, and then present it to the public.
The one question I had about the $250,000 for payroll, is that just for the salaries, or does that include the taxes and the benefits and all that?
That's everything. That's the gross
everything?
amount.
Okay.
And is it still about 23%
For benefits,
benefits?
it's closer to 30.
Closer to 30?
That includes pension and whatnot.
30%, no, 30% of the salaries,
Correct. Taxes, pension,
you add 30%.
Yeah.
approximately.
Okay. I know I just round figure, and it used to be 23%. Yeah. 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 Mhm. Include everything.
Yes,
But it is included in the budget item.
it's
Yeah, So
included.
you don't add it to the budget, it's already in
No,
the
it's
budget.
already included in all the numbers you see, all parts of hiring are included in the budget.
So I know you probably can't answer this, but I'll ask it anyways, is do we have an idea as far as for next fiscal year, as far as millage rates and utility rates and things like that?
Well, millage rate is something that,
Yeah. We haven't even
we
received the
discuss
numbers
internally.
from the property appraiser, so we'll receive those, and then we'll bring that to you
Okay.
about our
June
suggestions.
1st, we
June
get a
1st.
preliminary report about the property values in the city. So that would be our first step in doing the trim process.
All right. Because obviously, you know, everyone understands that rate of inflation is pretty high right now. One of the reasons why the salary, or part of the reason why the salaries need to go up. And there's a lot of concern in my mind as far as where is this going to take us for next fiscal year. And it's pretty scary, you know, with, and I know it's not just us, businesses, everything else. So that's why I'd like to scrutinize it to make sure that we're looking at everything. And I know you guys are putting a lot of work doing it, so I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Again, the entire city works on this budget. Each of the directors is in charge of their own budget. I'm involved with every single budget. Don Brothers has been involved with every single budget, and the city manager has been involved with every single budget.
Okay.
Additional questions? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.